That's all we can do.
That's
Okay,
it.
looking for Miss Dorsey. Is she on the first page? Oh, I see. Is it Matthew Doherty? No,
No, Melvina Dorsey.
Dorsey,
She's the first
Melvina
one.
Dorsey. I see her. I see her. Okay, Miss Triplett, what are we doing with Miss Dorsey?
There's been an offer, Your Honor, a reduction in charges to an OWI first.
Okay, all right. We are back on the live stream, and the court is calling Z 808-3291. Melvina Rebecca Dorsey. The charge is operating with a blood alcohol content of 0.17 or more. Ms. Dorsey, if you are in the virtual courtroom, please identify yourself for the record by saying your name.
Melvina Rebecca Dorsey.
Thank you. This is the date and time for final pretrial. Who's representing Ms. Dorsey?
Your Honor, Regina Triplett, P number 69160.
Thank you. And Ms. Triplett, how are we proceeding with Ms. Dorsey today?
Your Honor, the people have offered a plea to operating while intoxicated, but not the high BAC. And Ms. Dorsey wishes to avail herself of that.
All right, thank you, Ms. Dorsey. You have heard the representation of your lawyer. Are you in agreement with that representation?
Yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Dorsey, were you advised of your right to a trial?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Dorsey, if you were to have a trial, normally that trial would take place in person inside the 36th District Court, but because of the pandemic, the courthouse is closed to the public. And so you have agreed to participate on the Zoom technology today. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Dorsey, did you have an opportunity to speak to your attorney about all of your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Dorsey, did anyone threaten you, force you, or promise you anything in exchange for your plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you pleading guilty of your own free will?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you pleading guilty because you are in fact guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Dorsey, do you understand that by pleading guilty, you are waiving or giving up your right to a trial?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing that you're giving up your right, it's my understanding you wish to go forward with the guilty plea. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Dorsey, please raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, ma'am.
You may lower your hand, Ms. Dorsey, on the date, the time, and the location indicated in the ticket ending in 83291. We're driving a motor vehicle in the city of Detroit.
Yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Dorsey, were you stopped by a police officer?
Yes, ma'am.
And at the time, had you had alcoholic beverage to
Yes,
drink?
ma'am. Oh, I'm
Ms.
sorry.
Dorsey, do you recall what you were drinking and how much?
Yes, ma'am, I think.
What were you drinking?
I was drinking tequila.
How much tequila had you had? Do you remember?
It was shot. I was taking it in shots.
Okay, do you recall how many shots you may have had?
Maybe 5 shots.
And Ms. Dorsey, had the amount of alcohol that you consumed on that date interfered with your ability to drive that car in a safe manner? Were you intoxicated?
Yes, ma'am.
In fact, okay. Ms. Triplett, are you satisfied with the factual basis?
I'm satisfied, Your Honor.
All right, the court will amend the charge to operating while intoxicated. But Ms. Dorsey, I want you to know the court is very concerned about the blood alcohol level that was recorded for you. That's what they consider super drunk, Ms. Dorsey. Have you ever been charged with drunk driving before?
Yes, ma'am.
You have, how many times?
Twice.
Ms. Dorsey, 3 charges of this nature will constitute a felony offense for which you can be incarcerated for a year or more. So I want you to take this extremely seriously.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you employed, Ms. Dorsey?
No, ma'am. I'm a disabled veteran.
Okay,
She's 100% disabled.
okay. You know, we do have a veterans court. But what we're going to do, Ms. Dorsey, is, and in part because you are a veteran, and we do consider veterans special because of what you've had to experience. Sometimes that can add to this problem. So I am going to send you to the 36th District Court Probation Department for an alcohol assessment and pre-sentence report. And the date and the time for the review of that report and sentence by this court will be given to you before we leave you today. And
Okay.
Ms. Dorsey, I'm gonna ask you a question that I hope you can answer candidly.
Okay.
That is whether you think you have a problem with alcohol.
Of course, I have a problem with alcohol if I have 3 DWIs or 3 operating while intoxicated. Of course, I have a problem with alcohol. After this last one, though, since then, I haven't drunk at all, and I went to AA. I had to stop going to AA because of my issue with my health. So I had if I get COVID, then I could run the risk of really passing away, like because I have like a cancer.
She's been dealing with a lot of health issues. Since 2014, she was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. 2015, she had a bone marrow transplant. Over 15 years ago, she was diagnosed with lupus. She has a daughter in college in Texas. So she's had a lot on her plate. This incident did occur back in June. It was on June 4th, 2021. So I think the supervision and the treatment would help just to watch over her. Mhm.
Okay, so now when you say the supervision, you're talking about
Probation.
probation.
She
and
will
not
probably be
necessarily-
a good candidate for Veterans Court, Judge. I would agree. It's just that she has so many health issues that I don't want to set her up for failure.
And I don't either. So let's do this. Let's see what the probation department is going to recommend. And whatever their recommendation is, we will give you an interim review date. So I'm going to ask the probation department to include that in their recommendations. I'm going to ask for an interim review date to see how you're doing with that probation recommendation. If we find that you are having difficulty following the probation department's recommendation, then we may amend that recommendation and refer you to the Veterans Court, because I do want you to be successful, and I hope this has gotten your attention.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Madam Clerk, we're going to give her that review date. Can we give it to her now, the date for review of the pre-sentence report?
Well, we can do that, Your Honor. I know probation needs 8 weeks to be able to
Okay.
complete the PSI. And so we usually set it for sentencing on that date as well.
Okay, Can we
And
give
then I would set a review date after that.
okay, no, I'm talking about the sentencing date. I said review date, but I mean the sentencing
Oh,
date.
yes. The sentencing date would be May 27th.
Okay, May 27, 8:30 in the morning. It's going to be a Zoom connection, Ms. Triplett.
Judge, I'm not available that day.
Okay.
Can we do another day?
Madam
Sure.
Clerk,
Yes. Let me take a look.
Anytime that week is fine if you all have availability.
Um,
I want to take my time with her.
We can, May 24th. Oh, yeah, May 24th if you'd like.
That's good. That looks good. Thank you.
May 24, okay. Ms. Dorsey, we'll see you on May 24. And meanwhile, you will have an appointment with the probation department. They're going to
Okay.
do more in-depth analysis of what your specific issues are. And they'll make a recommendation to this court as far as your sentence is concerned. And we'll
Okay.
talk about that on May 24 when you are sentenced.
On
Yeah,
May 24th, is it 8:30, the
Yeah.
same time? Okay,
Yes. In the meanwhile, Ms. Triplett will be in touch with you
okay.
as well.
So how does she schedule with probation, Madam
Ma-
Clerk?
So I will send the PSI report or request for the PSI over and the substance abuse evaluation, and then they'll contact Ms. Dorsey with a report day, and they'll do her evaluation via Zoom.
Okay, there were issues with the address. You have the Margarita?
Ms. Dorsey, don't give it to me over the computer right now, but are you on Margarita Street?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then yes, I have the correct app information.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Judge, Madam Clerk.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
I'll be in touch, Ms. Dorsey.
It's good to see
Okay.
you, Ms. Triplett. Ms. Dorsey, you may disconnect. Ms. Triplett, thank you so much. We'll see you on the 24th.
Okay,
you.
thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else ready for the live stream at this time, or are we back?
Yes, Your Honor, we have Tony Richardson is the defendant, and the attorney is Greg Moore. They're a formal hearing.
Okay,
And
Mr. Wozak is asking to go in the breakout room with Ms. Dukes.
I did.
Oh, okay. So, Mr. Moore.
And the officer did not appear, Your Honor.
Okay, great. And it's Tony Richardson. The court is calling Mr. Richardson. SP 119-86041, Tony Ray Richardson. Charge is reckless driving. Count 2 of that same ticket is defective brake lights. This is the date and time for trial and formal hearing in these matters. Mr. Tony Ray Richardson is in the virtual courtroom. Please say your name for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Gregory Moore, P34437 on behalf of Mr. Richardson. State your name, sir.
Tony Richardson.
Thank you so much. Mr. Moore, how do you wish to proceed with Mr. Richardson today?
Move to dismiss without prejudice, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. It is 9:33. The officer has failed to appear. The people are unable to go forward, so we will dismiss this matter without prejudice for lack of a complaining witness. Mr.
Thank you
Moore,
very kindly.
as you know, sir, it does mean that the people may bring these matters again. The court is merely dismissing them because the officer has failed to appear.
Good
So
seeing you, Judge Clark.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moore. It's good to see you.
I'm 71 myself, so I'm semi-retired.
You're an old man, Mr. Moore.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. You may disconnect from the hearing.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a good day.
And Madam Clerk, is there anyone else ready at this